But in paragraph 17, you refer to certain sessions. If you can just go back to paragraph 17 of your statement where we just corrected the area. I just want to make sure that we understand what you're saying in paragraph 17. Are you saying in paragraph 17 that those specific dates mentioned there were sessions where the issue about the crime intelligence was raised? Or are you saying that those are the only orientation sessions that were held?
No, I was making an example that those days, those dates there was a focus almost on one particular issue, that is crime intelligence. And of course, we went up to December, but I do say that in certain aspects, we did go beyond December, still on orientation, but the type of which involved decision-making, discussion, not just pure orientation at that stage.
Okay, and then just back to paragraph 24, so that is the orientation. You also say, at no stage during my orientation or in the briefings. Are you speaking to briefings as being something separate to orientation, or are you using it interchangeably? Where you say in paragraph 24, at no stage during my orientation or in the briefings.
Oh, yes. During my orientation or in the briefings, I'm using that interchangeably, but I know that each one has a specific meaning, but in the context, I'm just using them interchangeably.
Okay, and when you speak about at no stage during my orientation or in the briefings, are we referring specifically to the period 2024, or are you also speaking about January 2025, because you've now said in your evidence that the orientation process went beyond December?
I'm talking about, or I'm referring to the orientation period up to December.
Okay.
Yes.
So if we are to understand paragraph 24, what you're saying is at no stage during 2024 were you briefed about a 6 December raid, or are you saying that at no stage at all in your time as the Minister of Police were you briefed about the 6 December raid?
Probably I'm saying both, that we were not, or I was not briefed about any operation resembling, if you could underline that one, resembling what came to be described later on as the 6 December raid. That is to say, a briefing that would say on such and such a day, police will be mounting a particular operation of this nature, beyond operations like Operation Chanela, that you would hear about, but these other ones, specific ones, were confined to police only.
And am I correct to say that you're dealing with that aspect specifically because you would have heard the evidence of General Masimola and General Kumalo that on the 16th of January 2025 they had briefed you about this operation and the arrest of Mr. Katiso Molefe and the links with senior officials where General Sabia's name was specifically mentioned with criminal syndicate, links with the criminal syndicate?
Yes, although I will deal with those matters later on.
Thank you. Just wanted to clarify that. So then the next topic then is the establishment of the PKTT. You may proceed. It starts at paragraph 26 of your statement on page 9.
The National Political Killings Task Team, and I want to make reference to that, use that, but and explain it so that we have synergy. In all the documents that relate to this task team, it is referred to as the National Political Killings Task Team or the national task team, or in some specific cases called PKTT. I'm just saying this to remove any confusion, especially one that I picked up in another commission in Parliament, where there was sort of an outright denial that there's something called National Political Killings Task Team. And there are reasons for that, that it was called National Political Task Team. It refers to the budget. It refers to the leadership of the National Political Task Team, in particular, to make it virtually national. So it was established in 2018 by an inter-ministerial committee chaired by the Minister of Police. Now, the interministerial committee itself was appointed by the President of the Republic, President Cyril Ramaphosa. This was in response to a surge which had been building over time in KwaZulu-Natal, a surge in what came to be described as political killings, which refers to the murders or assassinations of people occupying political positions in that province, in some cases also together with officials in government structures. Now, there was then a concern that there was a surge, a noticeable surge, and it was like consistent. And the president then decided that he would appoint an interministerial committee, and he instructed them to work on a mechanism that would contain the situation and actually reverse that trend that was taking root at that particular time. Now, it was created as a special project, just like in the language in government, where a special project can be created in any department. And it was established through an exercise of executive authority. Now, I need to emphasize that it was established through, if you like, political intervention, where the president was using his executive powers to intervene in a situation as was necessary. It was not established in terms of Section 11(2)(d) of the Constitution of the Republic. Section 11(2)(d) of the South African Police Act 68 of 1995, which, in other words, a combination of the two, which empowers the National Commissioner to establish components or units within SAPS. Its creation was therefore political and time-bound, and it did not form part of SAPS' permanent organizational structure. National Commissioner can establish a task team anytime he sees fit, and using the powers bestowed on him by the Constitution and by the Police Act. A provincial commissioner can also do so. Even at district level, such task teams can be established. But the National Political Killings Task Team wasn't one of those established by the National Commissioner. It was established through that political intervention in the exercise of executive powers by the president. Now, because the NPKTT was a project, it was always understood that it was interim in nature. It was never at any stage understood to be a permanent kind of setup. And I must distinguish between a team at this stage to clarify my point. It was never established as a unit. It was established as a team, actually a task team. Now, and there's a difference between a team and a unit in subs. And I'm explaining that because at one point when the commission was on and Major General Van Rooyen was asked a specific question in this regard, she said, if I remember correctly, she said, there is no difference between a unit and a team. And there is a difference. Now, the NPKT was established as a project. It was allocated a specific budget taken from various programs at the time. In other words, it was not budgeted for in a normal way where you budget for a program in a department. It had a team had just been set up mid-year, and then a budget had to be found to make it move.
But of course, we will be right back there in a moment. This is the National Pulse.
I don't love going to school. I don't love sitting in a classroom with 50 other children, but I do love learning. Ngiyakuthanda ukufunda isiXhosa as a language. I do love getting good grades. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 19 December.
The Buccaneers believe they are unstoppable and will walk away as champions. However, Bahlabani Bantwa plan to reveal their secret game plan on match day. This is the Carling Knockout Final. Witness Orlando Pirates versus Marumo Gallants on Saturday, 6 December at 5 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then at 6 p.m. on SABC radio stations. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to the National Pulse with Ashraf Garda.
It certainly is the National Pulse. I'll tell you what, you feel free to comment, and the best way for now is via WhatsApp voice note, so we can bank and play it when the opportunity comes up. 0614 104 107. What is it for you that's moved the needle, moved the National Pulse today? And then you can text us as well. So you heard the voice of the police minister on leave of absence, Senzo Mkhunu, speaking at the Madlanga Commission. Let's get right back.
Months, there was an assessment. And it was decided consciously that there would need to be an extension, which was for another 6 months. Now, in 2020, there was COVID in the country, and there was no assessment that was made of the PKTT in that year. The following year, 2021, an assessment was conducted. And as required, and an extension signed off by the National Commissioner, and the National Political Killings Task Team was ultimately appointed or apportioned its funding for the relevant year because of its extension. Now, beyond 2022, because this was an extension between 2021 and 2022, there was no further extension that was sought. In the same manner, I should qualify that, as it had happened before. And there's marked differences when you look at the previous extensions and after 2022. As a result, the NPKTT continued to operate without a required assessment and renewal for more than 2 years. And I'm advised that the relevant expenditure during this period beyond 2022 on the NPKTT is irregular under the PFMA, Act 1 of 1999. So what I'm explaining here is that the National Political Killings Task Team was a project. It had a project leader. It was not a unit in SAPS, and it had no budget allocated, but budget had to be found from other programs, even during extensions, to fund it. And it had a clear objective. And it had to be subjected to regular assessments, and costs had to be calculated at each time there would be an extension, just like all other projects of government. And it was time-bound all the time, from the time it was conceptualized. It was never an open-ended. It was 6 months, and next 6 months, and next a year, and then next a year, but after 2022, there were no longer, I would say, proper assessments in the true sense of the word.
Thank you, Minister. You then have a subtopic, but before we get to that subtopic, at paragraph 31, you mentioned that you are advised. Are you speaking about advice that you had received at the time when you were considering the PKTT or having regard to the PKTT, or now that it was in violation?
I'm talking about now.
Now,
Yes.
okay. Okay. You may proceed to the subtopic, which is the shift towards permanent structures. And you do set out here facts that, of course, you don't have personal knowledge of, but you do reference a work study, which you say you would have had knowledge of, because would that have been part of your orientation? Yes, if you could just deal with that briefly, please.
In September 2018, SAPS initiated feasibility studies for a new specialized investigative capacities, including murder and robbery, anti-gang taxi violence, and cold cases or cold case investigations. These findings were later consolidated in the 2019 work study. In 2018-2019, feasibility studies confirmed that political murders were already within the core mandate of murder and robbery capacities and didn't require a parallel temporal task team structure. The study set out a detailed minimum personnel and functional requirements that couldn't be met sustainably through temporal project team, in other words, on a project team basis, or on a project basis, rather. Now, on 26 June 2019, General Sithole approved the work study establishing the murder and robbery unit and other specialized unit as per the outcome of the work study commissioned as I indicated above. The murder and robbery unit's mandate, including serial murders, police killings, political murders, murders of elderly persons, and attacks on farms and small holding. And I attach a copy for your reference as SM3. It outlines very, very well. And perhaps I should just explain it as you would see there.
That, and we will get back to the Madlanga Commission as soon as possible. But right now, it's 3:30, and with the news headlines, here's on Bana.
They say the early bird catches the worm. Great advice, unless you're the worm. Generic so-called wisdom doesn't work for everyone, so I settle for a financial plan that's one size fits some. Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to get to really know your unique situation. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the news headlines, Gauteng Finance MEC Lebogang Maile has tabled an adjustment budget injecting 3.3 billion rand into the province. The Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources has announced that fuel prices will increase from tomorrow. Both grades of petrol will increase by 29 cents per litre. Both grades of diesel will go up by between 65 cents and 85 cents a litre. And the South African Weather Service has issued multiple weather warnings of severe thunderstorms, strong winds, and hail for various parts of KwaZulu-Natal. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the R21 northbound in Pretoria has a crash before the N1 highway. The N12 R24 westbound in Bedfordview has a crash near Giluli's interchange. All lanes are open. And the N1 northbound in Sunninghill, a stationary vehicle at Buccleuch interchange. In KZN, heavy rain reported across parts of Pietermaritzburg. So please reduce your speeds and drive with absolute care in these affected areas. Also, in Pietermaritzburg on the N3 westbound, a fallen tree reported before Hilton exit, and on the N3 eastbound, a crash reported after Hilton Avenue. In Cape Town, the M3 southbound is slow moving towards Rhodes Drive, the M5 southbound is slow moving towards Racecourse Road exit, and the N1 outbound slow moving on Plattekloof Hill. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
Right.
Well, a very good afternoon.
Okay.
Hi, Ashraf.
Sorry. Let me start once again. It's like a race, for the 100-meter dash. Right. 3, 2, 1. You can go for it.
All right, then we start things off with rugby this hour, where Springbok lock Evan Etzebeth will find out his fate this afternoon when he appears before a disciplinary hearing for the red card that he received through an alleged eye gouge during last Saturday's test against Wales in Cardiff. Now, the committee are expected to review the incident and announce its decision later today. Eye gouging is one of rugby's most serious offenses, carrying a minimum 12-week ban, while more severe cases can lead to suspensions of over 24 weeks, and in extreme instances, it goes up to 2 years. So definitely he'll be waiting with bated breath to see how that one goes. Meanwhile, the Stormers begin their Investec Champions Cup journey on Friday, and they'll be up against a well-known threat in Bayonne. Former Stormers scrum half Herschel Yankees is expected to play a key role for the French side. This is after leaving Cape Town last season. Now, Yankees made 63 appearances for the Stormers, helped them win the inaugural URC title. And Stormers defense coach Norman Laker says that they're very aware of the inside knowledge that Yankees brings and his ability to break open a game. And Bayonne head into this clash sitting fifth on the top 14 after 11 rounds. In terms of football, Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Wadu says that he's quite confident that his country or his home country, Morocco, will deliver a standout Africa Cup of Nations when the tournament kicks off later this month. With just 19 days remaining, the continent's finest teams will converge on North Africa as 24 nations compete for the prestigious crown. And Wadu, who earned 58 caps for the Atlas Lions and was part of the squad that finished runners up in 2004, he believes that Africa can look forward to a world class spectacle as global attention turns to Morocco. Remember, that countdown continues and the tournament gets underway from the 21st of December to the 18th of January. And SABC will broadcast all 52 matches live on SABC2. You can stream them on SABC Plus and provide. SABC will be providing full coverage on SABC Radio. SABC Sport is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025, and it's game on everywhere. Meanwhile, Orlando Pirates attacker Relebogile Mofokeng says that his side must remain consistent to retain the top spot in the Betway Premiership.
I think we have been doing well since 3 months now. So I think we must just keep on going and re ska theosa moya tlamehile fela re tswelele pele because no a se re number one tlamehile re dule mo tlamehile re zame re win game tsa rona kaofela. I think ntho e important ke consistency le mentality. I think a se re dutse mo mentality ya rona tlamehile di itjwetse gore rona re deserve ba mo. So I think tlamehile fela re be consistent re dule re sebetsa re ska theoa. So yeah, I think tlamehile re tswelele pele re sebetsa.
With some fans criticizing the Dane. Then, in terms of cricket, Australia all-rounder Glenn Maxwell has opted out of next month's Indian Premier League auctions in Abu Dhabi, ending a 13-season stint in the lucrative T20 cricket competition. The explosive hitter was bought by Punjab Kings for 7.9 million rand for last season, but was only able to make 48 runs off 4 wickets in 7 games and then was released by the franchise in November. Faf du Plessis and Andre Russell also ruled themselves out of the IPL 2026 last week, with the former South African captain instead choosing to play in the Pakistan Super League, and the former West Indies all-rounder joining the IPL team Kolkata Knight Riders coaching department. The 2026 IPL auction will take place on the 16th of December. That's it from my side for now. I'll have more in the next hour.
5 teams, one epic journey. No flights, no smartphones, just grit, maps, and pure determination. Race Across the World Season 3 is back, and the stakes have never been higher. From bustling cities to remote villages, who will conquer the chaos and cross the finish line first? Thursdays at 6 p.m. only on S3.
The Eastern Cape MEC for Finance, Mlungisi Mvogo, will on 4 December 2025 table the medium-term budget policy statement. He will outline adjustments to the 2025-2026 budget and highlight key policy priorities for the medium term. Follow MEC Mlungisi Mvogo and the Eastern Cape Provincial Treasury on Facebook for further details.
X at SFM Radio and at Ashraf Garda.
I'll tell you what, so much has been happening, and I want to just pick up on this tweet that is so interesting. Zwelinzima Vavi, he tweeted, a visual of a party where people all dancing and referring to the Kuruleni city, well, former Kuruleni city manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi, saying there is little doubt that many of these individuals singing praises of the former Kuruleni city manager knew precisely what she represented. The power of patronage and corruption offers short-term rewards so alluring that some parents abandon dignity, conscience, and even their own children at night to go parade for favors. Linked to all of that is one of the people saying, I'll die for you. And she said, thank you. And then someone else responded to Vavi saying, with a picture of Jacob Zuma, ostensibly after they won that groundbreaking ANC election that put him into power. And with him is behind him Vavi and Bladen Zimandi and Gwede Mantashe. And the question was, Grootman, Mara, what were you thinking? Yeah. And his response is so telling. He tweeted saying, we were crazy, exclamation mark. A moment of madness, even though it was fully mandated by 2,000 delegates at the COSATU Congress. I should have recognized the excitement and not misled myself into thinking we were truly advancing the interests of the working class. It was a fatal mistake. Wow. Let's get to the Madlanga Commission. You hear the voice of Senzo Nkunu.
Now, the Marai report, if I could call it that, identified multiple task teams operating without monitoring, without coordination, without budgetary accountability, including political matter team. Now, we supply the copy of the Marai report marked SM5. In paragraph 6, in paragraph 4, in paragraph 5 and paragraph 1 of the Marai report, the following observations are made regarding the NPKTT and other task teams. And I quote the relevant aspects. The task teams that are not monitored, that they had discovered in the assessment, run rampant for years without determining or accounting for the gap left where the members were taken from, mostly at station level. Task teams found operating in provinces. So he does an assessment, and he discovered that there are several teams that are still operating in provinces despite the implementation letter of November 2019. And then he names these task teams that are still operating unmonitored, that are still running rampant, where there is less accountability. He makes reference to foreign vehicle task team, multiple trial, essential infrastructure, political matter team, to name a few examples of what the assessment determined or Marai study determined. So in summary, the recommendation in relation to NPKTT was that its functions be transferred to murder and robbery as indicated above. Just like there was a consolidation process in terms of the decision of 2019. This was to prevent various task teams, including NPKTT, from operating in a silo with no coordination or budgetary oversight. So when signing the Marai report on 16 September 2024, and by that time we had arrived, Lieutenant General Sbiya, as one of the signatories, he makes the following remarks, and I quote, "It is deeply concerning that a study of this nature was undertaken and approved by the National Commissioner as far back as 2016. To date, but no implementation by the respective provinces. Now, what is also of concern is that despite numerous work study approval by different national, I would say national commissioners or national structures, little to no effort was made by provinces to resource and implement approved recommendations. This has significantly contributed to the poor performance of the detective services in particular. And in recent crime stats released, it was evident that commercial crime investigations was neglected, considering the fact that the study proves a 17% implementation. Little else can be expected To a greater extent, there is 46 units not implemented, whereas 42 were only partially implemented. In other words, the detectives are operating under a complete deficit. There is overall 57% shortage of capacity, I close quotes. Now, this was a remark by one of the signatories to that work study, but I go to paragraph 45, which is important, of my statement. Again, fast forward to this year. On 5 June 2025, General Masimula, National Commissioner, signed off the work study with the instruction that implementation must be expedited, as he signed, making that remark. So if you look at it, it had taken the National Commissioner a full year to sign the implementation, which was now expedited from March 2024 to 2025, to June 2025. So it was a year-long lapse after everybody else had signed. Had he signed in March 2024, it would have meant that signing becomes an implementation of what had been agreed on in terms of specialized units as per the work study of 2019. And by this time, 2024, the units were there. They could have been at different levels of strength, but they were there by that time in 2024. Now let me talk about lapses.
Just to make sure I understand, Minister. So are you basically saying if General Masemula had signed off on the implementation in 2024, a unit like the NPKTT, as you call it, would have been dissolved as at 2024?
Yes, it would have been dissolved. It would have been dissolved, commissioners, for the simple reason that the NPKTT couldn't coexist with specialized units, one of which would be serious and violent crimes as a component, under which there would be murder and robbery, under which there would be a sub-unit called political killings. It would be an unnecessary duplication, and it would run against the letter and spirit of the work study as they adopted it in 2019, and wished to implement it all these years, as I say.
Thank you.
Minister, I'm here. If I may just ask on the back of this response to the chairperson, at paragraph 37 of the statement, you say that the work study effectively disestablished the NPKTT. Can you just explain that? Because my first understanding of that statement of yours is that beyond 2019, after that work study was adopted, beyond that period, there should never have been a PKTT. Is that a correct understanding of what you're conveying in paragraph 37?
Correct, but depending on their assessment of implementation of the implementation letter of 2019 in September, that would prove that the murder and robbery is now running in this and that and so on, provinces and at national, because the murder and robbery would be both at national and at provincial level. Once they determine that, then it would run, and by 2024, murder and robbery was there. And I can even go further to say, shortly after we got appointed, we ourselves started discussing with management a new organogram, a new organizational structure, which I will come to later. And it was emphasized there that, no, in fact, we do have murder and robbery. We do have this and that unit, but I'll come to that later on.
Thank you.
Now, so the summary in paragraph 45, in the summary is that one of the things that would have happened, therefore, is that the functions of PKTT and other units would be transferred to the units that would have been established as per the work study and implementation. Now, I need to lift my head here and say the simple process, it would have been just a simple process in a department to say, I imagine they would even possibly not want to talk about disbandment. They might have chosen to say, it's absorption. It's an internal departmental kind of process in the light of the internal processes, organizational processes that would have taken place, and they would merely have done that kind of implementation on themselves. And I would make an example of one unit that we disestablished in the process of orientation in 2024 without much ado. Now, I want to proceed. I'm now, I was just addressing in passing the lapses. Sometimes, commissioners, in the departments that we run or are appointed to run, you do from time to time come across lapses. Other lapses have minor impact and minor consequences, but other lapses have bigger consequences depending on the case at hand.
Sorry, Minister, I don't want to break your flow, but when you are looking at the work study, please at some point consider 8.10 of the recommendations. It will be on page 201 of the annexures. Just make a note for yourself, Minister, and then at some point. But it deals with the very subject you are addressing now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner. Now, let me go to, so in the meantime, I do make that point as part of paragraph 46 as a part of expansion. In the meantime, we had started, as I've pointed out, the reviewing of the organizational structure, which is now in line with the 7th administration. So that is what was happening. Now, I then deal with organizational placement and budget implications. Well, I make reference out. I know commissioners have ease of reference in the structures. I had intended putting it in a screen for clarity, because I know that you are being followed as a commission by many, many people in the country who may want to understand what is that we're talking about, but maybe we don't have luxury of time on our side.
We do have it, Minister. We can project it. Thank you.
I would love that we display that. I won't go to all the boxes. I'll just make a reference to what we're talking about only.
Thank you.
Ms. Sigels, aren't we going to see it?
We are
across the-
going to, Chair. And just for the benefit of the commissioners, the hard copy is also in the exhibit bundle CJC 55, which would have been provided to you. It could be file 2 of 2. It's the exhibit correspondence and documents bundle.
I would have loved a pointer if you have it. Sorry, I have a question late.
Unfortunately, we don't have a pointer, Minister.
Okay, I'll use my finger.
You can refer, and then she will circle it.
Ms. Nube, can this be expanded here? We can hardly see a thing.
More?
So this is you'll see this is the structure signed this year. Now I do need to clarify this point because someone said Minister Mkhunu is misleading the public, disbanding National Political Task Team in 2024 and making reference to a structure signed in 2025, so that I don't mislead that particular person and the public. The structure, the new organizational structure, we completed last year, before the end of the year, a reviewed organizational structure. But there are processes that involve labor that took some time into the new year, leading up to the official signing on that date. But the structure had been agreed on internally in 2024. So what you see there is as we had decided on or agreed on right in 2024, but now it's then indicated as such. But I want to go to the division that deals with detectives, the detective section. There's another slide. If you could move to another slide, that will make things clearer, what we are talking about. If you would start counting the boxes from left. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you.
Some graphics that that can't be seen by you, of course, if you're listening in. But we'll get back to that as soon as we can in just a moment. Let me actually check up if we've got. Because I always ask you to say send out your WhatsApp voice notes so we can bank it right away. So there's a few now that we can play. Let's do that right away. Yeah.
Goedemiddag, Ashraf and your team. And this is Flores from the beautiful winelands. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what his explanation to the Madlanga Commission is going to be about how we understood the word immediately. Yeah, so looking forward, but so far he took he looks very calm. So let's see if he's going to maintain that posture. Yeah, good, so bye-bye.
Okay, but does this calmness suggest what?
Hi, Ashraf and the listeners. Ashraf, hey, Sense of Tune is coming with his tricks today, eh? Coming with earphones. They may be the two-way radios that they may be telling him everything. We never know. He just sensitized us today by telling us, hey, my ear is not so good. But hey, I'm highly very suspicious about that. That can be even they just telling him what to say, giving him answers, so he's more prepared. Because he's coming today with his game face, I can see. Yes, guys.
Oh my goodness. Normally we talk about game plans in sport, but here's a game face. First time I've heard that. Fascinating. I love the contributions from the greater, in this case, the SAFM and National Pulse community. I really do. Okay, let's get the news headlines. It's 4 o'clock. Here's, no, not the news headlines, the news with Ondia Laimbana.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the top stories, Parliament concerned over safety of MPs and weather warning issued for parts of KZN. And for SFM News, I am Ondelamban, and a very good afternoon. Parliament has expressed serious concern over threats and intimidation against MPs during their work. They include recent incidents in the ad hoc committee looking into concerns around national security and oversight activities by SCOPA members. This follows a letter written to National Assembly Speaker by the MK Party reporting the kidnapping its member Vusi Shongwe last week. He's an alternative member of the ad hoc committee. The party says his 3 cell phones were taken and he was made to pay a substantial amount of money. Parliament spokesperson Mulato Mutapo.
Parliament has noted with great concern the incidents of intimidation and threats directed at members of Parliament in the course of doing their work. While the latest outcry has emerged during the process of the ad hoc committee, similar threats have also been made against members of SCOPA and others during oversight activities. Parliament is aware and supports the steps taken by members who have reported these matters to their local police stations, and we trust that the South African Police Service will investigate and address these cases expeditiously.
Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has taken to the stand at the Madlanga Commission. He will testify today and on Thursday. This is to allow suspended EMPD Police Chief Brigadier Julius Mkwanazi to present himself to the Commission tomorrow. Mchunu, who is being represented by Advocate Tembeka Nkaitobi, will be responding to questions from evidence leaders. His testimony will focus on the disbandment of the political killing stars team in December last year. Evidence leader Advocate Mahlape Silo elaborates.
But we already have a witness under subpoena for tomorrow. And we have engaged with Minister Mtunu and his legal representatives. And the agreement is as follows. Minister Mtunu will start this afternoon. And in the course of the afternoon, he will give evidence, his version of the issues, uninterrupted and unquestioned in large part by the evidence leaders. He will be testifying in this session of the Commission strictly on matters pertaining to the PKTT.
Gauteng Finance MEC Lebogang Maile has tabled an adjustment budget injecting 3.3 billion rand into the province. Maile presented the province's 2025 medium-term budget policy statement and the adjustment budget to the legislature earlier today. He says the province will continue to focus on protecting key social services.
As a means of equipping Gauteng provincial government to continue responding to the provincial imperatives underpinning the 2024 to 2029 MTDP and the G13 priorities. The total adjustment is 3.3 billion, which includes the rollovers, national and provincial funding.
The Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources has announced that fuel prices will increase from tomorrow. Both grades of petrol will increase by 29 cents per litre. Both grades of diesel will go up by between 65 cents and 85 cents per litre. Meanwhile, eliminating paraffin will be nearly 1 rand more expensive, while liquefied petroleum gas will increase by 24 cents, the department's spokesperson Robert Magge.
The reason for these adjustments are the average Brent crude oil prices decreased slightly during the period under review, and the rand appreciated against the dollar during the same period. The international product prices of petrol and diesel were also affected by lower inventories ahead of the winter season in the northern hemisphere, as well as the planned and unplanned refinery shutdown in Europe as they prepare for their winter season.
The South African Weather Service has issued multiple weather warnings of severe thunderstorms, strong winds, and hail for various parts of KwaZulu-Natal. A level 5 warning is forecast for areas in the northern part of the province, whilst level 4 has been issued for areas along the coastline, including eThekwini and those in the Midlands. Authorities say disaster management teams are on high alert as these warnings can pose serious risk to human life. Sanzelwe Mzila is a spokesperson for the Provincial Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
In terms of these warnings, a level 5 severe thunderstorms warning has been issued for Abakulusi, Big 5 Hlabisa, Tuwe, Etumbe, Dozini, Janeni, Tubatuba, Mandla, Nongoma, Ulundi, Umhlabelingana, Datuze, Umlalazi, and residents are urged to exercise utmost caution.
Recapping the top story, Parliament has expressed serious concern over threats and intimidation against MPs during their work. They include recent incidents in the ad hoc committee looking into concerns around national security and oversight activities by SCOPA members. I'm on Delambana Press FM News headlines at 4:30.
In sports, the Samoa Proteas building depth for 2027 World Cup. It's about to learn his fate at disciplinary hearing today, and Bulgaria to host opening trio of 2026 Giro stages. More details at 4:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the R59 southbound in Alberton has a crash reported before Swartkoppies Road. Slow-moving traffic through the Crown City West area and the N3 southbound in Bedfordview, a stationary vehicle near Van Buren Road. In KZN, the N2 southbound in Isipingo is where a crash is reported after Prospection Road. All lanes are open. The N3 eastbound is slow-moving at Marion Hill Toll Plaza, and on the N2 there's a crash near Queen Nandi Drive causing heavy traffic travelling north. In Cape Town, the M3 southbound is slow moving towards Rhodes Drive and the M5 southbound slow moving towards Racecourse Road exit. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
SAFM 104 to 107, nationwide.
You could spend 10 minutes on social media or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For his 2024 GWMP series, 54-year-old Amos now pays only 1,004 Rand a month. And for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser, 55-year-old Andre pays just 776 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
The Atlas Lionesses of Morocco and Mzansi's Banyana Banyana return to the battlefield. The rivalry between the North and the South continues. This is the international friendly. Witness the spectacular encounter between Morocco and South Africa this Tuesday, 2 December at 7:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Well, it's the Senzim Kunu Day, certainly at the National Pulse, and we certainly cover that as part of the Madlanga Commission. As always, let me remind you, best that you send a WhatsApp, and I'm sure you have views about what you've heard this morning and today. And if you have those views, just send it to us via WhatsApp. We'll bank it and play it whenever we get the opportunity. 0614 104 107. 30-second WhatsApps will help. Quick ones from Imzo saying, thank you, Ashraf. I'm listening to Senzim Kunu with no interest because I know he will be defending his mistakes and tell lies on top of that. But let's wait and see the Madlanga Commission's recommendations thereafter. Well, there we are. And there's another quick one. Ashraf, the question still remains: did the minister lie to Parliament when he said he never met Mokhotsi from Dan? Right. Let's get back to the Madlanga Commission, and the voice you're going to hear right away is the police minister on a leave of absence, Senzo Mkhunu.
That we are agreeing to disestablish the police inspectorate. And if you look at the structure that has been signed, you no longer have police inspectorate. It's a unit, it's not a team. So when people say, why and how do you disestablish a unit or a team? It's a fair question. We're in a democracy to talk, but it's not like you can't do it, that it can't be done. We did it, the whole unit in the organizational structure. 3, what else did we introduce? Is establishment of specialized units. This is more or less endorsement of what was there. We said it's a good thing that we have it, including all these components that I've spoken about. What else did we add? We relocated the division supply chain from where it was to report directly under Chief Financial Officer for better accountability in subs. I listened to our CFO when she appeared in the commission. She said a lot of irregular component.
Was it not in Parliament before the ad hoc committee?
I'm sorry, Chair and Commissioners. It was in the ad hoc. I listened to her speaking. She says, in response to a question, no, most of our irregular expenditure over years comes from supply chain. And it continues to be like that. So when we observed this, we observed it as a weakness that the Divisional Commissioner of Supply Chain reports directly to the National Commissioner outside of the CFO. And the CFO is supposed to be the one who talks more about finances in terms of accountability of the department and other processes as a CFO, like it happens in other organizations. And CFO is in charge of 120 billion now of subs budget. Now you can't then spend it in a manner that CFO can't be seen to be in charge, and you just make supply chain manager or divisional commissioner, commissioner in this instance, report directly to the National Commission. So we were doing this consciously to improve accountability so that we can change the situation. Now, these are the new features which are in line with the imperatives of the sixth administration. And when it comes to finances, we regard it that it's part of policy for which the minister is responsible, and minister is responsible, minister is responsible. How do you allocate the resources and how do you account for them? It was for that reason. I'll jump the rest and maybe go to paragraph 56 to say, by late 2024, therefore, the National Operational Center was required to absorb NPKTT costs amounting to approximately 95 or 94 million for the 2024-2025 financial year. And when that submission was made to the financial officer, Lieutenant General Timpane, she recommended that this amount that was requested at that time be reduced to 20 million. and that the task team be disbanded, particularly after 2024 elections, and then a work study to determine its future be undergone to determine its future. And we have the copy of the commentary, just like we have made direct quotations from other lieutenant generals to help the commission to understand what we are talking about. Now, National Commissioner subsequently approved a reduced allocation and so on. So indicating that we don't have a straight line in funding the National Political Killings Task Team right from 2018 up to this particular period. You make requests, you make memorandum, and so on and so on. Now, I pass this section.
Thank you, Minister.
Afternoon, Commissioners. It's brought to my attention that it's now, I think, gone past 4. Might this be an appropriate time for an adjournment?
Are we going to be
We started a
much-
new
are we going-
topic thereafter, sorry.
But still on
Still PKTT.
the PKTT.
Yes.
Are we still going to be much longer? Ms.
If I may just confirm.
No, yes, Mr.
Chair, if I may. Not too long. We are quite mindful of the time we have.
Yes.
If I can't venture a guesstimate right now, but perhaps if we could have it, I would have an opportunity to confer with Advocate Sigal Nube, and tomorrow we will give you an indication. But the objective is to be completed with Minister Mkunu, including engagement on questions by evidence leaders by Thursday. It remains an objective, and ours is to structure a plan to achieve that objective.
Please remind me, what do we have on Friday morning? Because what we were told in chambers is that Mr. Nkai Toby's re-examination will only be in the afternoon on Friday. Or was it repeated here? I'm not sure
Yes,
now.
I think he did. Yeah.
Yes.
He confirms it.
Yes. On Friday morning, what do we have?
We had a witness scheduled, but this afternoon we received an application for postponement to a later date, and that can only then now be next year.
Yes.
So we are still to apply our minds to that application. We think that solid reasons have been put forth for such a postponement, and once presented to the commissioners, is most likely to succeed.
Yes.
So on that basis, I think I can say that there is nothing currently scheduled for Friday morning if that application for a postponement is granted.
All right. I'm asking because I think that may give us time
Some breathing space.
to have the minister's testimony before the re-examination completed.
And we'll take that on
gives
board.
us,
We'll
yeah,
take that
enough
on board.
time.
Thank you, Chair.
If you're still going to be much longer and you are not able to tell us that you are not, so perhaps we should take the adjournment at this stage and
Yes, Chair.
resume at with the minister at 9:30 on Thursday.
Thursday.
On Thursday. And tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow we have Brigadier Mkwanazi continuing with the EMPD stream.
All right.
Thank you, Chair.
Let us adjourn till 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Chair.
So Kuno will not be on tomorrow, will be back on Thursday, as per arrangement made already, right? Well, my name is Ashraf Garda. This, of course, is the National Pulse. It gives us a chance to get feedback from you. So a rare opportunity, um, because the nature of what we do now is we have to be very, very dynamic and adaptable and agile in the moment, right? So the first thing, of course, is it allows us to get your WhatsApp comments. So feel free to do that right away. And if you are, and tell me where you're from as well when you are, even via WhatsApp, give me your name because you also put your town on the map, right? So 0614 104 107. And then you can call in live because I'll have a chance to do that now. 086 000 2032. So on the basis of what you've heard today, this morning, and now, you may have some thoughts. I'm sure you do. So let me hear it. Get it off your chest. But that's not all. There are many other things happening in South Africa and around the world that you may want to also get off your chest, as is the nature of someone calling in on the show. And that's absolutely great. So, in a moment, we'll get to some of your WhatsApp comments and calls.
Make summer even more extra with free gifts from Vodacom, like the Oppo Find X9 Pro for just 1,399 per month over 36 months on a 6 gig red core plan. Comes with a wireless charger, Oppo Watch X2, 80-watt charger, magnetic phone case, and Oppo Care worth 18,999 on us. Plus, get 5 gigs YouTube data for 3 months. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
Spurs are counting on the value of 3 points to find a decent position in the top half.
And Richarlison has just tried to lob David Raya. Wow, that is extraordinary from Richarlison.
Meanwhile, the Bees want to brighten the day of their fans with a good win.
Jensen opens it up for the day. It's Brentford's day for the third time in 4 seasons.
This is the Premier League. Experience the hot contest between Tottenham Hotspur FC and Brentford FC the Saturday 6 December at 4:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
Okay, so let's get to your thoughts right away. There are many WhatsApp comments, as there were yesterday as well. And it's interesting how you respond to different comments from different people, right? Right, so here's an interesting one. You have your own conclusions on this.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. It's Fighter Shai here at Govenbeck Municipality, Mpumalanga Province. I'm listening to Mr. Mkhunu here at Madlanga. I'm shocked. It seems as if then these commissioners, they're afraid of him, because when it was that lady, Dr. Ule, what, they were on top of her. And then now it is Mkhunu, they're afraid of this minister. Icon. No, they must go deeper. This man is a friend to Mkhotsi, is a friend to Ket Matala. He's the one who brought it this far, where we had this commission and ad hoc committee. So they must go deeper, these people. So come next year, people must vote out this current government of ANC, must remove them at all. The next year is local elections. We must go and remove this political cadres. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but why are you linking it the one to the other? I mean, I hear what your thoughts are about the ANC, and that's fine. But I mean, maybe for the purpose of what we're talking about now, is keep it on the narrow, which is the commission, if that's what you're referring to. In terms of you saying people are sort of letting the Senzo Mkhunu off, I think you're mistaken. I'll tell you why. If you had heard from the outset today, at this point in time, his testimony is being led, meaning there's no Q&A now. That's going to happen on Thursday. That will happen on Thursday. For now, he is relating what he has already delivered in a statement and is being led to do just that. Unchallenged. That was the key phrase, like unchallenged for now. So just be aware of that, okay? And maybe give the other guys a chance in terms of their work, the commissioners that is, right?
Good evening, Ashraf. This is Jerry from Wherever. Ah, is he, Mr. Mkhunu, coming to justify himself of disbanding the PKTT? What is this all about? I don't trust anything that comes out of that person. No, man.
Okay, you don't trust. So then, what is it? Do you trust? I mean, not that you must trust. I hear you. We may have played this. Let me just double check on that one.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Good afternoon, brother. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's Janet here. Janet from Cape Town. Ashraf, I don't trust this guy, man. Sends him to that earpiece. That thing he's got there in his ear. I don't trust. That is not a hearing enhancement thing. That thing. I suspect that thing, my bro. That thing. Maybe Bukai Toby is talking to him in his ear there. What he must say, how he must, when he must say what. That is not a, that is not a hearing enhancement. Please ask one of the reporters there. They must look into that. Guys must really look into that thing.
Okay, so you think it's all set up? You're first saying it's definitely the case, then you said maybe, then you said we must look into it. Like, which one is it? I'm not saying you're wrong. What I am saying is like you are so certain about it. Like, why are you so certain about it?
I thought, let's South Africans gotta be honest with themselves. This is just a waste of time. This Masala Commission is a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? So we are still waiting for people to be charged from the Zondo report. What have happened to the Zondo Commission report? Nothing.
Well, because as you said, nothing happened there. We must just not learn from any lessons, as maybe you're suggesting, and just cancel all inquiries or investigations. If I hear you correctly, seriously, is that what you genuinely want? Here's another on the commission.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Vincent Rismat here in Midrand. Ashraf, I think there at Madlanga Commission, it is just calm before the storm. When cross examination comes, then the chicken will come home to roast. So let's wait and see. Thank you, Vincent here.
Chickens will come home. I hear that phrase often enough. Here's another.
Police Inspectorate.
Hello, Ashraf. Opa here from Douglas, Northern Cape. Yo, this is like a spy movie now. All of a sudden, Sensum Kun is having an earpiece. Yeah, this guy come prepared. Cool like a cool pet.
Okay, I tell you what, and I've said this before, the conversations we have with you guys, they are something else. They really are. Okay.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. The minister Senzom Mtono sounds very confident today. We will wait and see. I'm Bafana Kumalo in memory.
Well, we will wait and see Bafana. Just like Bafana, by the way, they're playing tonight. I think they are playing friendly match against Morocco. Yeah.
I'm listening to Denzel Mkunu, and then something I don't understand. Now, Denzel Mkunu gets to be represented, whereas all of the witnesses were never represented by the attorneys or their lawyers. Seems like Panas is fighting a losing battle here, like you said. Like, yeah, we are fighting a losing battle. This looks like it's a losing battle. But you don't understand why Denzel Mkunu needs to be represented, whereas the rest of the witnesses never want to be represented.
Okay, I heard that point, and maybe that's going to come up as well. And who has the right to be represented or not?
Good day, my brother Ashraf. Babaska here in Durban. Look, Ashraf. Hey, when does Sauniva end? Now, minister is coming in with something in here. We don't know. He's communicating with someone, someone telling him what to say, or You know, you can see, you can tell this is just a plan. Huh? I think we're gonna enjoy this commission with the minister. Let's see. Let's see.
Okay, just well, it's amazing how people are referring to this like spy movie as you discussed, right?
Ashraf, I think we respond to the gentleman that said nothing is going to hurt that I understand what you're trying to say. And I share the same sentiment. And I know people who share the sentiment. So it means a lot of people, at least the number of people, this commission is with the previous. That we are holding commissions, we are spending money. What result comes out of this commission? That's the question. And if nothing comes out, what then can be done?
All right, I hear what you're saying too, and yeah, we may disagree, but let's respect it. I'm just saying we can't do carte blanche and say let's do nothing at all because nothing came out of the previous ones. But I also hear, and I said it with respect, that there is a public, and you're all part of this, broader SFM community. That's broader part of the South African community that are understandably, skeptical, understandably lacking in confidence about the desired results until the results get delivered. So I empathize with you, and perhaps, well, I'll be asking the same questions too. Okay, let's put that on pause for now. Let's get the news headlines. It's 4:30.
Thank you, Ashraf. On the news headlines, Parliament has expressed serious concern over threats and intimidation against MPs during their work. They include recent incidents in the ad hoc committee looking into concerns around national security and oversight activities by SCOPA members. The South African Weather Service has issued multiple weather warnings of severe thunderstorms, strong winds, and hail for various parts of KwaZulu-Natal, and the death toll in the devastating floods and landslides on the Indonesian island of Sumatra has risen to more than 700. A full update follows the top of the hour with Greg Hoos.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N3 northbound in Bedfordview has a crash before Van Buren Road. The M1 southbound is slow moving towards Boysons. In KZN, the N2 southbound has a stationary vehicle near Umgeni Road, and the N3 eastbound in Pietermaritzburg has high truck volumes reported on Town Hill. And in Cape Town, Voortrekker Road eastbound slow moving through Maitland, and the N2 outbound slow moving towards Bunga Avenue. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
Right, Chumi. I mean, I can think about 3 or 4 things that are top of the sporting agenda, but I'll leave it to you to decide.
Well, Proteas captain Temba Bavuma says that they've already began their preparations for the 2027 ICC Cricket World Cup on home soil and play every game with that in mind. He was speaking ahead of the second ODI international against India, and Bavuma says that every single match that they play is about giving the newer players in the team opportunities to make sure that they have enough depth by the time the tournament comes.
Every day we play now is a big lead up opportunity to that. I think it's about filling in the gaps per se with guys who have left. So I mean,
If you asked me probably 6 months ago, if I would be out, I'd probably say no. Yeah, just with everything that happened, and obviously I spoke to Amanda before that, but I didn't think the day would come. So obviously it means a lot. It means the world. That's what I said to coach and Clinton, the selector. Yeah, it's just again, I'm just excited. It's good to be back around the team. I got my clothes again, and I felt like it was my clothes for the first time. Got a new helmet as well. I was like a child. But that's what it means to me to be here, and yeah, hopefully I can really contribute to the team in any shape, form that I can.
Of the country hosting the WAFCON next year. The two countries meet in the last match of the year in Morocco tonight, and that match is part of Banyana's preparation for next year's Women's Africa Cup of Nations to be hosted in the North African country. And Ellis says that the outing will be beneficial, especially for players who haven't played at WAFCON. Meanwhile, Arsenal defender William Saliba remains a doubt for the Gunners' clash against Brentford through injury, and Arsenal are in action tomorrow night when they host Brentford. And Arteta has given an update on him saying that he will only make a last minute decision with regards to him. Meanwhile, in rugby, Springbok lock Eben Etzebeth will find out his fate this afternoon when he appears before a disciplinary hearing for the red card that he received for an alleged eye gouge during last Saturday's test against Wales in Cardiff. The committee are expected to review the incident and announce its decision later on today. Then finally, in cycling, Bulgaria will host the first three stages of next year's Giro d'Italia, which will once again crown its champion in Rome. It'll be the 16th time that the Giro, which will run from the 9th to the 31st of May, start in a foreign country, and the second time in a row after Albania hosted the opening three stages of this year's Giro, which was won by Britain's Simon Yates. I'll have more on other sports in the next hour.
Okay, perfect. We'll check that out. And of course, there's this huge countdown now to not just the AFCON, but the FIFA World Cup draw. And listen, for the first time since 2010, South Africa are in the draw for the World Cup. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
Well, Makwe and Masilela certainly got all those numbers. Makwe, you want to talk about local and global, but firstly, the interims from Araxi.
Yes, Ashraf, and Araxi, formerly known as Capital Appreciation, we invest in fintech and financial services sector. The guys continue to attract new clients and secure long-term contracts, diversify their revenue sources, and increase their market share. Excellent performance from the payment divisions and also terminals orders grow significantly. Revenue up 0.3%, which has normalized in 58%. Rest of their balance sheet remains ungeared with significant cash of just over 300 million, and that will help them to find organic growth, stuff like that, and also doing some share buybacks. And as we're talking now, seemingly manufacturing not doing great, ourselves, China, US had disappointing activities, and traders also digesting rising odds of Fed rate cuts and speculation over who might succeed as the Fed chair. Look at an expected US manufacturing activity heap pressure on the Fed to cut rates, and that itself is resulting in the dollar to weaken. And locally, our chrome producers are struggling with high electricity tariffs. Remember, in November, Samanco said it will cut almost 2,496 jobs. Now, Morafi today announced it will also be looking into cutting jobs. And according to the OECD, the global economy is weathering some state tariffs unexpected. Our Q3 GDP grew by 0.5%, meeting the estimate. Remember, Q2 we had a 0.9% growth, while prices ending back some of the previous session gains as traders continue to assess global supply risk. Brent crude is down 0.6% at $62 a barrel, and a rebound in the US Treasury yield to wait on the yellow metal. And with investors staying cautious, that's ahead of a series of key economic data. We see gold is down 0.2% at 4,222. Platinum is down 0.8% at 1,649. Our intentional peers are trading in a positive territory, but the local cost is down 0.6%, and we've been dragged down mainly by our resources. In the rand, like $22.57 against the pound and maybe 55 against the euro.
Okay, got that perfect. Thanks for that, Mark. We're right. So 6 to 7, we have an hour of the SAFM market update coming up. Do not miss that.
You're listening to the National Pulse on SAFM.
Right, we'll have an update on the Senzo Mchunu trial coming up shortly. Let's pick out some more voice notes that we have. So sorry, did I say Senzo Mchunu? Of course, I'm certainly getting all mixed up with different names. Just Senzo Miyiwa murder trial, right? We'll get to that in a moment or so. There's more voice notes, and let's pick them up.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Hope you're well. Ashraf, I must say that the senior counsel at the Madlanga Commission are really doing a fantastic job. I think Advocate Sello, with the questioning yesterday and today of Dr. Mashazi, has been on point. And it really shows that you don't have to go out there and be brash and rude or scream at witnesses, and you can get the most effective results. So I think they've been really great at the Madlanga Commission, together with the commissioners as well. I think they've really
shown a lot of professionalism and a lot of class as well. Thank you. This is Justin from Durban.
Okay, thanks for that. To Justin with your thoughts. Here's another.
Hey, Ashraf. Ndumiso here in Richards Bay. Ndumiso Fuze here in Richards Bay. I think that that doctor there today, she was humbled. I think as a nation, we humbled her with the comments that happened. She was very humbled today. And also with Senzo Mkunu, you can see the unfair thing is that he started at the ad hoc committee, now he's at the Madlanga Commission. So he's got hindsight and he's saying things that he never said before. So his story now is well polished. Yeah, now he's speaking about Kumalo, that Kumalo was not supposed to be a team leader and also intelligent, things that he never said before. But we're looking forward to hear from him.
Okay, well, there we are. You think that was the case? Like one is a dress rehearsal of another, and therefore there's an advantage? I don't know. I'm really asking.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Speaking to Tume from Manchester in Newtown. Ashraf, what I don't like with the minister's testimony is his insisting on the name NPKTT. We only know PKTT, and from my understanding, what I know, that team was formed for the province of KwaZulu-Natal. But he keeps and keeps on putting this N for national. I don't understand, but the commissioners also noted.
Okay, I hear that too about the NPKTT or the PKTT.
Hello, Ashraf, it's Tumisane in Gqeberha, Motherwell. What's interesting about Senzo Mkunu's evidence, I wish they can ask him all this information that he gives to the commissioners and the commission. Did he know it then when he took that decision? In which meeting? Who briefed him? Who gave him all the stats he's giving us, the organizational structure? Because now he's justifying why the PKTT should have been disbanded. But the question here really is, what was his motive? Did he get a briefing? Was it done properly?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? Who gave him that briefing? If in fact that's what you're saying, right?
Sure. Good afternoon. Abraham Siatle from Malodopofu. Would you please explain to us, or in this commission they are saying Advocate Modatobi is going to re-examine the evidence by a commission on Friday. Actually, what are they trying to say here? Can you give us understanding? Thank you.
All right. I have my own thoughts about it, but let's get absolute clarity on that so we don't say something that's incorrect, accepting what we do know at this point in time. The minister, if I could call him that, is effectively relating his story. It's unchallenged. So that's a plain statement being made. Thereafter, that will be challenged. And yes, he has enlisted Advocate Ngobai Nkaitobi as has his legal counsel. And again, some people are questioning, should you have? But I mean, I think even this morning they had legal counsel. So it's not like it's exclusive to one person or the other, right?
Good afternoon, Ashraf. It's Bongani here in Durban. I hear people saying the committee is being sought with Mr. Mtunu. No, look, the commission don't just jump in. You first take you nicely until it gets to a point. It's gonna get to that point where they want it. It will get. This guy can have peace and answers from the outside if that's what they think. You can't answer some questions. Those people, they know. They know how to question a person. They question people for a living. So people must not worry. Mr. Mkuno is still gonna mumble. Yeah, pretty soon.
Well, I would agree with you, and I sort of suggested that already. This is just round one, so like a boxing match, you can go up to 15 and now 12 rounds. Yeah. Let's pick that up. Yeah.
Good evening, Riperile Ashraf. Hope and trust you are well. Today's commission, Mutunu, he sound prepared and the knowing what he's talking about today, like the previous sitting. He was not ready. Today he seems like he did his homework. Let's hope and trust also Mkwanazi tomorrow. He will respond well to what Mutunu is saying. Yeah, let's sit and wait. Reverend Adam Manganyi in Musina signing off. Amen.
Thank you. Well, as a reverend, as you said it, amen. I was let's sit and wait and pray and wait. But your amen at the end just about set it up. Right. Let's, in fact, we'll put that on hold for the moment because I want to now get all of us up to date on what's happened with the Senzo Meyiwa case. And I think there's some significant developments today. So that comes up next.
X at SFM Radio and at Ashraf Garda.
Right. So what has been happening on this long-standing saga, right? And I suppose that's really what it is, right? Now, earlier today, the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial adjourned after three, and listen to this, okay? Three men seated in the public gallery were removed from the Pretoria High Court. Why? Well, we understand that police had received solid intelligence that there was a group of individuals who attended today's proceedings with the sole purpose, would you believe it, to commit murder. Oh my goodness. Let's find out more. Pearl Magubani, SABC News reporter, covering a case, and this is a story within the case, I suppose, right? Pearl, I appreciate your time.
Good afternoon, Ashraf, and good afternoon to the listeners.
Thank you. Right. So let's get to that story of these, allegations of an attempted hit in the courts, right?
Well, yes, I mean, these were men that were just sitting, and from what transpired, let me just go back before they were removed. Prosecutor Josh Baley was in the middle of a piece of Rabini allegedly made, and during the address, the piece of Rabini who is in the witness was distracted and his eyes were, caught by the action in the public gallery that these people that he came with, addressing the court, were being taken by the police. He addressed the court to say, my lord, I see the people that I arrived with who are now being taken by the police. I want to know what's going on. And it prompted the defense counsel to excuse themselves from proceedings to attend to the matter. And what we heard from the police was that these are people that have been profiling who came to eliminate anybody that was associated with the case. So that's according to them, and they've been profiling them in more individual ways, and that's why they apprehended them. But we don't know if it's an arrest as yet. It's questioning because earlier on they said that they were taking them for questioning.
Okay, so you don't know for sure whether after that they were released, which could be rather risky, or whether they've been held even temporarily. I'm not even going to say in custody. I'm not too sure. You don't know that at the moment, right?
Yes, we're going to get an update from the police spokesperson at Madlanga Matter, who was prompt to respond as to what was going on, because nobody was willing to take record in court as to what had transpired. All they knew, all the court officials knew, was that both men are somehow linked to the case. So we thought perhaps they were being taken and released from murder of Malua. However, we now learn some conspiracy wants to assist the state or in the state side according to the investigation. But the more people, that's what Agenda Matter said, that do come into court, scouting the area. But I must say that we don't get, it doesn't become fact. And every time we go time,
Mm.
what with him, so there must be something else. What transpired after the questioning? Will we be
Mm. I mean, I take it that, as you said, you need to sign in. I take it you all are checked and searched, no matter what, including, everybody, even reporters, I would think, right? Do I take it that was anything found on them, like firearms or any other weapons?
No, that has not been disclosed as yet, but it is hard to go in with the weapon unless you're an official, because there are special sectors and you have to sign in everything. But you just never know how people can think. Which has been known to happen. But we don't know what exactly was found in that position. Clarity later on, or hopefully first thing in the morning, we would know for sure that these people were part of this conspiracy to murder.
Yeah, wow. Is there anything else you can tell us? Because obviously this then became the focal point of today's proceedings, right?
Yes, we're expecting to proceed tomorrow morning. However, we have been advised security would be heightened around the court itself. In the courtroom itself, in the Mayua courtroom, there is heavy police presence time. And this witness is trying to understand usually was supposed to be on the street witness income due to fear of safety. So there is some sort of safety measure there. And I suppose for the police, for the investigation to spot these individuals, be alarmed by their presence. It means that the secretary suffocated to say that there was heightened security tomorrow, even further. When
Okay, let's leave it at that. Appreciate you giving up your time today, and yeah, let's see what happens tomorrow after today's drama. Thank you for your time as always, Pearl Magubani, SABC news reporter covering that story today. There was a story like a side story to the main story, which became the main story of the day. This is the National Pulse.
EFC is live this Thursday. In a division that has produced more global superstars than any other, a four-way Grand Prix will decide the next warriors to battle for the flyweight throne. It's Zondi versus Kamana and Manumala versus Ngamantwini. EFC 130, live from the World Sports Betting Arena. Watch it on SABC Sport Channel on DTT Channel 4 from 7 p.m. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
EFC is live this Thursday. In a division that has produced more global superstars than any other, a four-way Grand Prix will decide the next warriors to battle for the flyweight throne. It's Zondi versus Kamana and Manumala versus Ngamantwini. EFC 130, live from the World Sports Betting Arena. Watch it on SABC Sport Channel on DTT Channel 4 from 7 p.m. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
Okay, let's pick out more comments from you. There's a flood of people, and of course, naturally, it's one commission after the other.
Hi, Ashraf and SFM listeners. Please tell the guys who are saying maybe nothing came out of Zondo Commission. Things are still going on there. Guys are still getting arrested. We heard of Bigaba recently. And then also there was a report that came out that already over 2 billion rand has been recovered through that commission of Zondo. So people cannot just say nothing is happening. It's just that they are not following the news. So it's those who are just following politics of a hearsay.
Well, maybe you're partially right in the sense that I think a lot happened during the actual commission. Then there were recommendations. There's a sense for many people, and maybe justifiably so, that there's been no major conviction. So it's been rather underwhelming. Having said that, your examples you gave right now, I think, are telling. Why does the law take so long is another conversation, and that's something we need to probably talk about. But it doesn't mean nothing at all has happened. We need to understand that even now, with the commissions on the go, there's already been casualties simply because they've come up, right?
Good afternoon, Mr. Ashraf. It's blessing truck driver. I'm between Bridgetown and Victoria West. I'm going to Cape Town, driving truck. Don't worry. No way told me, no way told me, Mr. Mkono. These people you are facing there, it's not that community. These people, they know the law. You see now they give me one day gap, they go to analyze it 24 hours. Even someone who's a spy that is putting what in this year, they're gonna question him until he get irritated because he's got a short temper. Mark my word, on Thursday, South Africa versus Mkhunu and Mwechobi. Makara win.
All right, we will mark your words.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. I can tell you one thing. Three people will be appearing before the court of law. That will be one of the recommendations by this Madlanga Commission. At the trend we are going now, I promise you, Mr. Ashraf, three people. I'm not going to mention their names. Denzel and Kimberly, thank you. That's the only name I can say.
Okay, so we got your name, Denzel, in Kimberly. Thank you for that. Three people. Who are the three not so wise men, women? Okay, got that. Right, there's more. Love the variety of people, young and old, in South Africa, big cities, small cities, dorpies, metros all around the country, and abroad commenting.
Hi, good afternoon, Ashara. I think the grilling of Mr. Mkunu will be more intense than the ad hoc committee, based on several testimonies from different witnesses. So the commission have gathered enough information on allegations, so we'll have to answer. And he has been given enough time to submit affidavits, and they have also been given enough time to investigate more on Mr. Mizweni from Kimberley. Thank you.
Okay, and here's another about football.
Ashraf, let's be thankful for FIFA and this rule of governments not being allowed to be involved in football administration. Otherwise, Bafana wouldn't be going to the World Cup next year. Trump wouldn't give us visas. So let's be thankful for that FIFA rule.
Yeah, look, I mean, that's the thing. Even with South Africa hosting the World Cup here, to use a word kindly, listen, I love football, and I think I went to 12 matches. I'm serious, including both the opening game, the two semis, and the finals. But I will say this with hindsight, that there's no question for 1 month, FIFA ran this country. You tell me differently. I don't know. That's the condition. They sign you up. You have to effectively. That is why, yeah, Trump will not have the power to rescind, a visa, for example, because FIFA would run the country and they choose whether they either want the World Cup or they don't. And if they want it, then it's a FIFA call that they make.
Good day, SAFM listeners, everybody. Let me just try to clarify the usage of the advocate Ngugaitom, who's the legal representative for Mr. Mkunu. Normally, in the commission, the lawyers are allowed, but only to assist their clients to present their case. They may not be allowed to cross-question other witnesses who are coming to make to present their case in the commission. Thank you.
Right, and that's one, and there's maybe time for here's an interesting thought.
Good afternoon, Ashraf and family. Hey, Ashraf,
It's Bratiti here. I'm in Gauteng. You know, at first, I didn't like the idea of the commissions, but now, telling you the commission is a real thing. It's happening because now we got to know the truth. We are getting educated every day. The commission in the Madlanga and the head of committee, they are both educating us. We now know what works and what doesn't, what happened and what has been happening throughout. And as to this former commissioner, not former commissioner, the suspended minister of police, Senzo Mutuna, what is the gadget all about? What is it? What is that gadget all about? Why did the commission allow him to wear that gadget on the ear? Apparently, I mean, it goes without saying, he's taking instructions from Ngugai Tobi. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what, we're going to try and find out what the gadget's about if we can during the break here, so we can tell you exactly. So there's less speculation and more facts on that. Like, but I hear you. There is huge interest in the gadget, as someone said, like James Pondo. This is spy stories. Okay. Maybe Greco says it. He's got the news at 5.
Thank you, Ashraf. I have your gadget-free news bulletin. Concern over the safety of MPs and death toll rises in Indonesia floods. Good day to you. Parliament's expressed serious concern over threats and intimidation against MPs doing their work. They include recent incidents in the ad hoc committee looking into concerns around national security and oversight activities by SCOPA members. This follows a letter written to the Speaker of the National Assembly by the MK party reporting the kidnapping of one of its MPs last week. He's an alternative member of the ad hoc committee. The party says Vusi Shongwe's 3 cell phones were taken and he was made to pay a substantial amount of money. Parliament spokesperson Moloto Matapo.
Parliament has noted with great concern the incidents of intimidation and threats directed at members of Parliament in the course of doing their work. While the latest outcry has emerged during the process of the ad hoc committee, similar threats have also been made against members of SCOPA and others during oversight activities. Parliament is aware and supports the steps taken by members who have reported these matters to their local police stations, and we trust that the South African Police Service will investigate and address these cases expeditiously.
The Police Minister, Senzo Mchunu, testified that the budget for the National Political Killings Task Team beyond 2022 was irregular under the Public Finance Management Act. Testifying at the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria, Mchunu, who's on a leave of absence, says there was no extension of the task team beyond that year as per the regulations.
What I'm explaining here is that the National Political Killings Task Team was a project. It had a project leader. It was not a unit in SAPS, and it had no budget allocated, but budget had to be found from other programs, even during extensions to fund it. And it's at a clear objective, and it had to be subjected to regular assessments, and costs had to be calculated.
The City of Tshwane is urging residents to remain patient and exercise caution as ongoing rainstorms, thunderstorms and hail continue to disrupt the power supply, waste collection and road services. City spokesperson Lindela Mashiko.
Electricity faults are being logged in several areas as a result of lightning strikes, fallen trees, uprooted lampposts, wind-driven debris, and hail damage to infrastructure.
The Weather Service has issued weather warnings of severe thunderstorms, strong winds and hail for parts of KwaZulu-Natal. Spokesperson for the provincial Cocta Department, Sinzalo Mzila, has the details.
In terms of these warnings, a level 5 severe thunderstorms warning has been issued for Abakulusi, Big 5 Hlabisa, Tuwe, Etumbe, Dozini, Tonjaneni, Tobatuba, Mandla, Nongoma, Lundi, Mtabialingana, Tatuze, Blalazi, and a level 4 severe thunderstorms warning has been issued for the following areas: parts of Abakulusi, Alfred Duma, Indaka, Big 5 Hlabisa, Hluwe, Danhauser, NDZ, Underberg, Edumbe, Madlangeni, Dumeni, eThekwini, Royal Coxted, Impendle, Inkosilanga Libalele, Escort.
The death toll in devastating floods and landslides on the Indonesian island of Sumatra has risen to more than 700. 500 people are still missing. The BBC's Zastu Destra Anjing Rasti has more.
This is already almost a week since the floods first happened. We recently have spoken to someone in central Tapanuli, one of the area where they are isolated, and this person said that his village is completely paralyzed. The electricity is still out. Food supplies are running low and there's no clean water. This person essentially begging for the government to bring aid, pleading that people are hungry and access has been cut off everywhere.
The top story: Parliament's expressed serious concern over threats and intimidation against MPs. That's SAFM News. I'm Greg Coase.
In sports this hour, Bayana set for Morocco test tonight and Kawaja ruled out of second Ashes test. More details at 5:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the M1 southbound is queuing towards Omonde and Eskempa Drive northbound in Pretoria has delays towards Moot Street. In KZN, the N2 southbound in Amanzimtoti has a crash before Doonside and Chris Hani Road northbound slow moving towards Queen Nandi Drive. In Cape Town, the N2 Nelson Mandela Boulevard outbound has a stationary vehicle before Hospital Bend and Govan Beki Road in Kailicha slow moving between Symphony Way and Swartklip Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
Is there ever a bad time for a good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Morning Brief.
So the song we were listening to there is called Love Never Ends. What was your input in putting all of that together?
My contribution to the song, firstly, was the actual prompt. So it was me that stitched the song together to say, this is a good beat. Now take this beat and then position it like this. And then the lyrics as well, that's something that I also kind of sit down and then draft and insert into that to create the full song as well.
Gift Lubele, creator of the country's first AI Amapiano album.
This is Dula Sizwe Semelane on the Morning Brief. The National Pulse with Ashraf Garda on SAFM. You're listening to the National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
All right, there's more, by the way. So we know that today's hearing's adjourned, but here's one. Hi, SFM team and the listeners. Look, I'm also so whatever. I'm not going to repeat that word, but certainly somebody's very angry by the Mkunu narrative that he constantly pushes on the NPKTT as opposed to the PKTT. Slowly but shortly, he justifies this team having established specifically for KZN killings. So let's wait and see when the commissioners challenge him. Yeah, that time will come. Not today, not tomorrow, because he'll be back on Thursday. Right, we'll get further comments from you. I know that later on. And we will get clarity on that earpiece story that I can tell you now has, can I say it's captured the imagination, if that's the right word. Right, let's talk about this, which has also captured attention, maybe for all the wrong reasons, because there's huge concerns about it. We're in the midst now of 16 days of activism, against gender-based violence in our country, and this has been an ongoing story that we talk about it every year, and yet when we tend to measure, or not when we tend to, when we do measure it, you may wonder like what comes out of it, okay, in terms of do we see the actual results, improvement or not. So with that in mind, let's talk about a campaign called Name Him. Now, the name is spelled NXME. So if you think of like a Malcolm X name, you know name, like NXME, right? And it's been launched by the Women's Legal Center. And it's been called a National Civil Disobedience Campaign, calling, and the key word is disobedience, calling for the repeal of Section 1542B, which is the law that makes it a crime to name an accused rapist before he pleads. So there's more on that. Let's find out more with Ronwin Pithy, the lawyer representing the Women's Legal Centre, right? Ronwin, appreciate your time here on the National Pulse.
Thanks very much, Afrosh. Good afternoon.
All right. So, yes, it's legal story and saying a national civil disobedience campaign. I find like a mismatch here, but clearly there's a story behind this. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so we've had a matter that we've been litigating for the past couple of years, exactly as you mentioned now, challenging the constitutionality of a law in our country, which is the Criminal Procedure Act. Most media know very well. You may not name an accused rapist or someone who is accused of a sexual offense to be exceeded. Now, this law exists specifically and only for sexual offenses. Those are the only two offences that it exists. Else is accused of any of offence, really serious offence, murder, armed robbery. They can be named. Public, people can talk about it. It can be posted on social media, etc. For people who are accused of a sexual offence, their identity remains anonymous all the time they plead.
So just to be clear, when you say plead, it's the same. Is plead the same as appearing in court? Because you can appear in court and not plead, right? Yeah.
No, absolutely, and I think that you've actually identified the issue, because you appear in court quite soon, but with a lot of sexual offences, like with a lot of criminal matters, it can sometimes take up to 2 to 3 years before somebody pleads. So that whole time that they're appearing in court and the investigation is continuing, they remain anonymous of murder or armed robbery. And one of the reasons there are a number of reasons it's problematic. Obviously, why are these kind of, why are they separated?
So why has that been the case? I mean, what has been the motivation behind that?
Well, that's the very issue that we've asking the Minister of Justice. That's part of our campaign, and that's part of the litigation that we're involved with. We're basically saying it's an unconstitutional piece of legislation, in the sense that it discriminates against women primarily, but all sexual offences victims, and it disproportionately affects vulnerable people. What it does is that it undermines the ability to know that someone is suspected. It could encourage people to come forward with evidence. It could encourage people who may be victims as well, so multiple victims, other victims could come forward. The reason that the Minister has given that protection exists in the Criminal Procedure Act is to protect the identity of the complainant, in other words, victims. Now, we feel that that's totally disingenuous, because on a number of levels, there are sections in the Criminal Procedure Act which protect the identity of complainants, victims in sexual offences. And we just simply don't believe that this protection is there for complainants. We're quite happy with a little bit of tinkering, some sections in the Act. It will continue to protect complainants, but we cannot understand why only accused rapists and sex offenders are protected in that period of time before they plead.
Okay, so what is it you want to do? Because in the intro, we spoke about civil disobedience, right? So understand the problem, understand what you're trying to fix, right? And since it's not being fixed by the Minister of Justice right now, what is your plan?
So the plan is really to have a campaign, first of all and foremost, to raise awareness around this. Most people don't actually know that this law exists. And when we discussed it, people have been quite raised about it. Like, how come you can't name an accused rapist, name an accused murderer? We are running a campaign to show how absurd this law is, and hopefully put pressure, public pressure, on the minister to concede that this is constitutional. So what we've engaged in, what you exactly have labeled as civil disobedience, is to the point where we are not actually going to literally break the law, ask people to break the law. What we're asking people to do is to go to this website, which is www.namehim.com, and actually put in the name of an accused rapist who hasn't pleaded. And what the algorithms do is basically encode the name and produces a bunch of emojis. So the campaign is showing how absurd it is to be able to name an accused person to the extent that we have to encode it and it cannot be encrypted with that right word. But basically, we'll always retain that anonymity, and we're just basically showing how running a campaign of the same to raise as much awareness as we can.
And that name obviously would be given by someone, but would not be for public record for the reasons you've just mentioned. So who, in fact, would have access to that name?
No, nobody has access to that name. Absolutely nobody has access to that name, including the Women's Legal Centre. So as you type the name Peter in or John in, or whatever name that you actually type in, it immediately encrypts it into emojis, and we are going to show once the campaign is running away, and once people are entering those, how many people have wanted to name the accused, haven't been able to, have had to reduce. Hoping that in time, when the law changes, and obviously with the permission of those people who have entered those that encoded the encoded emojis, who will be able to reveal those names again.
Okay. How, and in terms of the actual campaign, I mean, I take it starts now, right? So
yes.
what exactly is the plan in terms of the success of the campaign? How would you know it's working if I take it it's only going to be over the next week or so?
No. The campaign will keep going. In March next year. So we're going to be running this campaign continuously right up to, we just launched it now because it's 16 days, but it's simply not just 16 days. What we hope to achieve, there are two components to the campaign. The first one is to find the citizens, actually send to the minister and say, this is how many people want to deal with you. Secondly, to get as many people to completely name who will be quite and also just to show the absurdity of the law. Because campaign will run for as long as we need to, for as long as it takes to win the petition.
What do you think? How many people are likely to sign the petition?
Sorry, how many people are
likely to sign the petition?
Well, we've just started and we've already got, I think, nearly 600 people over a very short period of time. I think a lot of people know about it. People are outraged about it and fully behind the fact that they should be named any other accused.
Okay. Actually, here's a WhatsApp from a listener, part of the broader SFM community, and I want to just pick it up. If you can respond to this.
Ashraf Thompson Bloemfontein, as much as we acknowledge the high rate of rape in this country, but we cannot allow a situation where a suspect will be named before he pleads. Ashraf, the consequences of this so dire. Imagine that you are not found guilty of this rape charge. The reputation, sometimes people loses employment, loses contact with their family and children because of that.
Okay, just your response to that?
I think that's a very common response. We're constantly out there today, and there's no other accused person, in other words, accused of murder or robbery, that's anonymity. So the whole issue of, well, it can ruin people's reputations. If you're accused of theft, if you're accused of armed robbery, the same goes. The fact that your name will be is why we differentiate accused of sexual offences and accused of any other offences. And it dives into all of the tropes and myths, stereotypes around race and around women. After on the stories. We have to have that information available to the issue is that does the law differentiate? The law is differentiating based on, we believe, on that discrimination. We can't name an accused rapist until we proceed to trial. In other words, we need pleas because we aren't lying. There is no evidence that there is evidence to the self-reporting in sexual so hard and false reporting. Higher false reporting. Anonymity doesn't
Okay, let's leave it at that. And I'm certainly not encouraging people to do A or B, accepting to find out more. So if they need to know more, I understand you've got the petition, you've got websites, you've got social media platforms. Just give us some contact details, or direct us to those.
So the Women's Legal Center handle is basically WLCE.co.za. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, and the name of the website which we're inviting people to go to is Name Him. www.him.com.
NXMEHIM as in him.com. Okay,
Yes.
got that. Well, let's
Name
see how that goes, and that challenge, and let's see the response certainly from the minister and others, if not now, certainly in the new year. Much appreciate your time on this one year, representing the Women's Legal Center. So that campaign, Name Him, spelled NXME, NXME, and my guest has been Bronwyn Pithy from the Women's Legal Center. Much appreciate your time, Bronwyn. This is the National Pulse.
Do great solutions start with good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. As the year winds down, SAFM wishes you and your loved ones a safe, joyful, and truly wonderful festive season. Whether you're traveling, celebrating, or taking time to rest, stay tuned for the stories, the conversations, and the moments that keep us connected. From all of us at SAFM, thank you for making us part of your journey. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. The Full Circle.
The last time we spoke, just as you were set to take to the theatre just down the road here for Umoya, you were also reflecting back in our conversation about the unfortunate loss of your mom, and you guys were very, very close. And I wonder, just where you sit in your still moment now, approaching 20 years, what would her reflections be on where you are now?
I actually immediately thought of her when you said 20 years, how does it feel? Because I remember she heard Ndireti on Metro FM. She called me very excited. My child, this is you. You did this. Ndireti, okunezani kuya. Ndireti, okunezani kuya. My mom has always been proud of me, but I think this is the proudest I've ever seen her being.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM. You are listening to the National Pulse with Ashraf Garda.
So, it's amazing how things move so quickly. G20 for South Africa has come and gone. And as you know, the baton passed on or the presidency to the USA. They now in charge of it. And already we know what Donald Trump has been saying for end of next year. But in fact, even the Sherpa meetings that start now already, which the same thing happened in South Africa like 1 year before, after they just came back from Brazil. I understand now South Africa already not invited to the US Sherpa meeting. So effectively, basically, they're already frozen now. Forget what happens in a year's time. That's it. Implications there. Let's talk about other issues around weather. So I tell you what, I'm part of a grouping. We've got a paddle semi-final tonight and a paddle final on Friday night, and it's all outdoors. So naturally, there's a huge interest in the weather, and I understand that there are big issues to be concerned about because the South African Weather Service has issued a warning about severe thunderstorms and damaging winds forget the light rains that will affect paddle, but damaging winds across several parts of the country. And of course, it'll be potentially dangerous. Let's find out more about it. What exactly is the state of our weather over the next couple of days with Andre Fourie, the weather forecaster from the South African Weather Service? Andre, appreciate your time here on the National Pulse.
No worries. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good indeed. What will you tell us? Give it to me. What's the plan or the forecast for the next few days?
So, yeah, as you mentioned, we do have quite a few severe thunderstorm warnings that we are expecting tonight, with yellow level 4 covering large parts of Gauteng, Mpumalanga, and KwaZulu-Natal, as well as orange level 5 there over the KwaZulu-Natal northeastern parts, and then more of level 2 over the central interior. So yeah, as you mentioned, we are expecting some heavy downpours, and there is also that possibility again of some large amounts of small hail, as well as the strong damaging winds and then lightning. And then for tomorrow, we are again expecting some scattered and isolated showers and thunder showers over the central interior of the country, and then again more widespread the eastern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. And then for tomorrow, we again have a yellow level 2 warning that covers the eastern parts of Northwest, the Highveld of Mpumalanga, as well as Gauteng. And then over the northern parts of KwaZulu-Natal, we do have a yellow level 1 warning again for some severe thunderstorms.
So these are mainly on the eastern side of South Africa, right? Not the west. Yeah.
Yeah, mainly over the eastern side of South Africa, as we are currently now in our summer season. The summer rainfall region of South Africa is more the central and eastern parts of the country, so that's where we are expecting the bulk of the weather in the coming months.
Okay. And I mean, you've already touched on it, but just how severe it may be, because one thing is about the frequency of the rains, which also affects people if they're outside, they want to play cricket or picnics or whatever. But the other is the not just the frequency, but the potential for devastating impact. I mean, I know about, like, I think the flooding in, or rather the hailstones or hail in Montana, in Pretoria yesterday. I couldn't believe what I saw, right? Which then, of course, we're talking about severe damage. So how devastating is it likely to be?
So, sorry, having some nice
Well, look,
lightning and
I
thunder
mean,
here
that's
at
the
the
type of
moment.
sound effects that you can't plan, but it's exactly
Yes,
on cue. Yeah.
exactly. That was good timing on that part of it. So yeah, basically for our seasonal forecast that we have is that we are going into what we call a weak La Nina state. So what that essentially means is that over the northeastern parts of the country, and it also seems to be influencing the central interior of the country, is that for the rest of summer, we are expecting above normal or above average rainfall compared to what we normally get during our summer seasons. So we still have that possibility of some of the severe storms to persist throughout the summer season, as that is how we usually get the rain over the eastern half of the country, is by thunderstorms. And then regarding the hail and stuff, it's difficult to say whether we can expect these thunderstorms to keep on producing these large amounts of small hail, especially so far in advance. But what I can say of what has occurred is that the way that the weather systems were situated, it was favorable for thunderstorm development these last few weeks, as well as those thunderstorms to produce hail. And I'm sure some people are aware that November going into early December is normally when the time of the year when we normally expect the thunderstorms to produce some hail as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, if people need to know more, can you direct me to, maybe your website or social media platform?
Yes, people can find our website, weathersa.co.za. We daily update the website. We also have that seasonal forecast that I referred to is updated there. And then people can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. On Facebook, we are South African Weather Service. And then on Twitter, or X, as it's now commonly known, it's SA Weather Service without the E at the end. We
Okay.
daily update our forecasts and warnings also on social media.
All right. And the key part you're saying above average rainfall is expected in the summer rainfall regions of South Africa. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for that warning. And now we know. And of course, as we said, the warnings didn't just come by talking. If we didn't believe it, the sound effects from Andre Fourie background certainly summed it all up. Andre, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us here on the National Pulse.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk.
Okay, there we are. Let's get to, in fact, to some of the points that we covered on the Name Him campaign.
Ashraf, truly everything else except what will help the needy or victims gets funded. How do you run a campaign and obsessing about naming accused persons? How does that help the victims of rape? I mean, their focus should be on ensuring that trials are not delayed and they run speedily and DNA testing is done speedily so that victims of rape can get finality on their matters.
I hear what you're saying, but maybe they both have a point. You have a point. I mean, generally the law takes its course far too long in South Africa and many other parts of the world. But also their point that why is there an exception around the issues of uh, rape victims, alleged rape victims, and therefore those that are accused? Why is it different when compared even to murder?
Good afternoon. I sure hope you well. This thing with rape and anonymity and things like that. I've only got one thing to say. Principal of the school where the parents accused him of raping their child. His life is destroyed because there will always be a question mark over his head, even though all the evidence pointed elsewhere and nothing pointed to him. He wasn't even there.
Thanks for that, Mark. But look, you're absolutely right about that, and that's such a horrific story. What was it? Was it Harry Smith? I think it is, which is absolutely horrific story. But I mean, the same may apply to somebody being accused of murder. You see, and then the person is found, not guilty, for example, or the case is acquitted, or somebody has fabricated things. But the point is, they're making that with regard to murder, when you appear in court, your name's mentioned. When it's not, you're not. So why the difference? I mean, it's a journey we all need to understand. Not that I'm suggesting in any way that your point about that school principal in any way is wrong. I mean, it's a terrible story. In fact, 5:30. Here's the news headlines with Greg.
The police minister, Senzo Mchunu, testified that he's never been accused of corruption since he's held public office. Parliament's expressed serious concern over threats and intimidation against MPs. And several areas in KZN have been affected by severe thunderstorms accompanied by hail and strong winds. There's a full update at 6 o'clock.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the R21 northbound in Kempton Park has a crash before the R23 Benoni exit. The M2 eastbound in Germiston has heavy traffic towards Refinery Road. The N12 eastbound in Boksburg, a crash before the R21 interchange, and the N1 northbound in Midrand, a stationary vehicle at New Road. In KZN, the N2 southbound has a stationary vehicle after Umgeni Road, the N2 northbound a stationary vehicle after Spaghetti Junction, and Chris Hani Road northbound is slow moving towards Queen Nandi Drive. In Cape Town, on the N2, a major crash reported between Grabo and Siloris Pass with fatalities, so you're asked to expect delays and diversions. The M7 Jex Havel Drive southbound is queuing towards the R300 junction, the R304 northbound in Stellenbosch queuing towards Port Laray Road, and Main Road is slow moving at Steenberg. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
Right, Jimmy, you got all the sport in the world. Go for it.
I do, Ashraf. And earlier on, I heard you saying that you're playing paddle a bit later on. I'm not sure if that's going to happen because from what I'm seeing, it's actually raining
Well, maybe you
outside.
need a
So good luck
paddle.
to you.
But hold it, you need a paddle to row. So, maybe you heard me incorrectly.
Well, looking at what's happening in the world of sports, Banyana midfielder Amghela Mudau believes that the Morocco friendly will lay the foundation for WAFCON 2026. Banyana head coach Dr. Desiree Ellis says that the international friendly against Morocco is a good opportunity for new players to test themselves against a good team and perhaps to get a feel of the country hosting the continental showpiece next year. Kickoff for this friendly is tonight at 8 p.m. Meanwhile, Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Wadi says that he's confident that his home country, Morocco, will deliver a standout Africa Cup of Nations when the tournament kicks off later this month. With just 19 days remaining, the continent's finest teams will converge on North Africa as 24 24 nations compete for the prestigious crown, and Wadu, who earned 58 caps for the Atlas Lions and was part of the squad that finished runners-up in 2004, believes that Africa can look forward to a world-class spectacle as global attention turns to Morocco. Don't forget that the tournament starts from the 21st of December to the 18th of January 2026, and SABC will broadcast all 52 matches live on SABC2, stream them on SABC Plus, and provide full coverage on SABC Radio. SABC Sport is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025. It's game on everywhere. In rugby, the Stormers begin their Investec Champions Cup journey on Friday, and they'll be up against a well-known threat in Bayern. Now, Former Stormers scrum half Herschel Jantjies is expected to play a key role for the French side after leaving Cape Town last season. And Jantjies made 63 appearances for the Stormers, helped them win the inaugural URC title. And Stormers defense coach Norman Laker says that they're very aware of the inside knowledge that Jantjies brings and his ability to break open a game. In terms of cricket, Australian opener Usman Khawaja has been ruled out of the second Ashes test against England in Brisbane later this week by a back problem. Khawaja was unable to open either innings in the series opener in Perth because of back spasms and showed some discomfort on Monday in the nets at Brisbane's Gabba ground, where the second test starts on Thursday. Now, the 38-year-old will not be replaced in the squad, raising the likelihood that Travis Head will stay at the top order after his brilliant innings of 123 as a makeshift opener in Perth drove Australia to an 8-wicket victory. Meanwhile, Proteas captain Themba Bavuma says that they've already began their preparations for the 2027 ICC Cricket World Cup on home soil and play every single game with that as the goal. He was speaking ahead of their second ODI against India, where they are trailing 1-0 in the three-match series after losing by 17 runs in Ranchi. And Bavuma says that every single match they play is about giving the new players in the team opportunities to make sure that they have enough depth by the time the tournament comes. Meanwhile, Australia all-rounder Glenn Maxwell has opted out of next month's Indian Premier League auction in Abu Dhabi, ending a 13-season stint in the lucrative T20 cricket competition. The explosive hitter was bought by Punjab Kings for 7.9 million rand for last season, but was only able to make 48 runs and 4 wickets in 7 games and was released by the franchise in November. Finally, in tennis, Jack Draper has delayed his comeback from an arm injury in pulling out of this weekend's Ultimate Tennis Showdown Grand Final in London. The British number one has played just one singles match since Wimbledon and had been hoping to continue his preparations for a January return to the tour. However, the 23-year-old said on social media that he's been advised to take more time rather than play in the event, which takes place at Copper Box Arena, and that is from the 5th to the 7th of December. On that note, it is a wrap from my side.
Okay, there we are. Important game of a friendly tonight. It's a big pointer to WAFCON. Thanks for that, to me.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
And those facts and figures, as always, comes to you with Jimmy Muyao, host the SAFM Market Update from 6 to 7 every night. Jimmy, big stories today?
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Good afternoon to the listeners. We're going to be taking a look at a conversation that took place earlier today from the team at Attraction. They are in the private rail space in South Africa. They've made a 3.4 billion rand initial commitment towards South African freight rail with another 2 billion rand set to follow in the future. We're going to speak to them around what this looks like from an investment standpoint and what it would mean for our logistics and rail infrastructure in South Africa. It is the biggest investment from a private perspective into rail in South Africa that we have seen ever. So we're going to take a look at this and see what we make of it. Then we have a conversation with the team at the International Trade and Administration Commission, taking a look at the import controls and tariffs that are being proposed for the steel industry. You might even take a look at what has been recently commented on around the chrome space that we've previously spoken to ITAC around. We've seen some industry response to that, and we're going to see if we can make sense of all of that. Then we have a conversation with the team at SAB around the Live Golf South Africa. We've got official confirmation on who the partner is, or the official partner for, or from a brand perspective, and we're going to speak to the team at SAB around that. We've also got a conversation with the team at KPMG taking a look at the third quarter GDP numbers for South Africa. GDP growing by 0.5% for the third quarter. We're going to see what that means for full year projections and whether or not those projections continue to remain realistic. We're going to speak to the team and get a sense of their thoughts around it, at least from the lead economist's perspective, around where the South African economy sits at the moment and what we make of it heading into the last month of the year. And then, because it's Tuesday, we've got an agri conversation. We're going to be speaking to the team at Omnia around some of the solutions that they have put in place from a market perspective to help agriculture, or to help the agriculture sector and to help farmers. Before we get to those conversations, markets have had a red day from a local perspective, largely driven by the softer commodity prices that we've been seeing, but there has also, or it looks like there's also been quite a bit of profit taking. If we look at the sectors, financial stocks were up about 0.2%, but that was cancelled out by industrials being down 1.1% and resources being down 2.5%. The top 40 was down 1.1% and the all share was down 1% on the day. If we look at the gold price, that was down about 1% at $4,185 a fine ounce. The Brent crude price, $62.20 a barrel. Platinum pricing, 1,633. Palladium back below 1,005 at 1,487. And silver pricing still below that $58 level, $58 an ounce, that is. If we look at international indices, the markets in Asia would have been trading first for the day. They were by and large in the green, with the exception of Shanghai. That was down about 0.5%, whilst the Nikkei was absolutely flat on the day's trade. European markets were a bit of a mixed bag, with the FTSE and the CAC 40 in the red, but the DAX in Germany up about 0.5%. US markets at the moment are in the green, with the Nasdaq up almost a full percent, and the S&P close second, around 0.5% to the green, or just under that. The rand at the moment, 17 rand 12 cents against the US dollar, 22 rand 63 against the British pound. 1 euro would set you back 19 rand 89 cents, and 1 Australian dollar is a little weaker at 11 rand 24. 1 Bitcoin is back at $90,000 a Bitcoin. It was below that yesterday when we had this catch up. That puts it in rand terms, with a slightly weaker rand, about 100,000 rand more expensive than this time yesterday at 1.54 million rand. We're going to look at these and other movements a little later on. I've got Chantal Marks of FNB Wealth and Investments joining me to take a look at some of these market movements. I want to get her thoughts on where we are as we head into the final month of the year. But that conversation, of course, comes up after the 6 p.m. news. For now, Ashraf, back to you.
Right, perfect. Thanks for that, Jimmy. Get ready. 6 to 7 is when Jimmy takes over, or runs, or drives the hot seat, whichever way you want to call it, right? Right, it means it's time for me to talk to you, because you clearly have views. So we'll get to calls, we'll get to WhatsApp comments, we'll get to text messages, we'll get to tweets as well. You know the number, but if you don't, let me give it to you. To call in, save this number on your phone, like, permanently, so you have it. 086 000 2032. And then to WhatsApp, you have the option to text or to send a voice note. Voice note shouldn't be more than 30 seconds, so we can so it's not too long. You must help with this one, please. 0614 104 107. And then you can text, and then you have that option to tweet, hashtag the National Pulse, right? When you do that, and do tag SAFM Radio, and do tag me, Ashraf Garda. Okay, I get to you in a moment.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
So you see, here's one from Dan saying, hi, Ashraf. The difference between the murder accused and rape accused is with rape, it's always men. It's about putting men down. Okay. I'll leave it at that, because I'm expecting someone to respond to that. I wonder. Right.
Oh, Ashraf, is that guy really standing in the rain, or is he just making that noise with the sheet for dramatic effect?
Listen, I don't think he's standing in the rain, but he could well be. I don't know where you are from, but if you live in Joburg, in particular, Joburg, Pretoria, right, those thunderstorms are crazy. So when people come from the Cape and they have no idea what these Joburg thunderstorms are like in the hail, it doesn't happen every day, but when it does, it scares you. So my guess is no, he's got to be indoors, but it is so loud and it is a huge bang, as you've clearly heard, right? But wonderful sound effects, don't you think?
Perhaps, yeah, welcome. You know, I feel so upset when I'm listening to Senzo Bruno and the whole government structure of the ANC. Because you can't just wake up today and say, to stop on this. And the president of the country is so quiet about this. But it gives us an indication to vote correctly.
Gives us an indication to vote correctly. Let's get to calls now. Lindsay in KZN, go for it. What's your point?
Yes, Ashraf, I just want to reflect on the two processes, the ad hoc and the Madlanga Commission.
Okay.
Yeah. Ashraf, I think many South Africans can agree with me when I'm saying this is the duplication of processes. Because you're taking the witness from ad hoc, you're bringing him to Madlanga Commission. And then you take the other witness from Madlanga Commission, you're bringing him to ad hoc committee. And then these witnesses, so they change their statement. They will be like perceived they are not trustworthy because now they are changing tone. As I was listening to Mr. Nkono today, when he's permeable, I can personalize and listening his permeable in your committee. His permeable in your committee did not include the issue of cost on the PK16. That today he added the issue of cost. And I know why did he got that. Because I was listening there to the committee. I was listening to him today. We got the advice, not the advice, the attention of including cost from the representative of the PA, the Patriotic Alliance. That smart voting classes there in the committee. He's the one who raised the issue of the cost, implying that the PKCC was very expensive to be handled. But that motion was passed the witness of Pelitele, who said PKCC actually is nowhere closer to the tax team that is operating in Cape Town, which is perceived to be the most expensive tax team that we have in the country. Why I'm drawing this similarity? I'm saying we are having duplication of processes here. However, I must emphasize, it's nice. No, I mean, I was going to prefer, if it was me, I was going to prefer to have the ad hoc committee only, but not the Madlanga Commission.
Okay, interesting.
The commission, we've got history now with commissions in South Africa. The commission does not take us to where we want to be. And it does not hold even the president accountable to the commission. The commission that was presiding over the Palestinian issue came with very detrimental recommendation for findings about the President Ramaphosa. Where is that research? Somewhere. But you can never share this outcome of the committee because they need to accounting to the parliament itself.
Yeah, true.
So,
okay, yeah, right. Okay,
So,
just
I think
give me one more line, yeah? All right. Is that it? Yeah?
Yes.
All right, Melenze, thank you. So sometimes we haven't spoken enough about this because there's been, between one crossing and the other, our time has been very limited, as you're well aware of, because we covered that, right? I wonder if others feel the same way and they provide the same sort of reasoning behind it as we've just heard.
Hi, Ashraf. Regarding the mayor of Joburg, Tata Morero, cleaning up Joburg is still hard. Joburg is still not clean. It's dirty.
So Joburg's back to dirty. I did suggest that now with the G20 visitors gone, I mean, can we please keep our homes clean, even if they're not around? I hope haven't taken your advice, maybe.
Hi, Ashraf. It's Nomfundo. So Minister Mchunu came with new information to the commission today. I cannot wait to hear Mkwanazi tomorrow. Interesting times. Sad at the same time.
Well, you're right. Sad. Good that we have sort of hold them over to testify. Sad that this is our norm. It's really sad.
Good afternoon, Ashraf. I've been listening to Madlanga Commission. Today I did listen to Ransom Chuno. I don't think I'm gonna disagree with the other voice note listener when he said he's scared of censor. I don't think the commission is scared of censor because today they started at 2:30 and his platform is to present his affidavit and stuff like that. I believe they're gonna be very hot on Thursday because now the evidence leader is gonna be questioning Senzo, and I think I'm very sure that Senzo Mtsunu will be very angry on that day because they're gonna question him. They did gather a lot of information about Senzo allegation and everything. I don't think Senso is gonna be okay with that. Thank you very much. It's Sora Pilion from Rodibot.
All right, got that. Well, we're going to have to wait and see how that comes across. And I agree with you that it's going to be it will be questioned. Let's clear that up. And here's another one on the ad hoc versus Madlanga.
Good afternoon, Ashraf and the SFM listeners at large. I just want to find out, maybe after the commission, as well as the ad hoc committee, let's find out which one. Well, the outcome will probably, I don't want to preempt, but in terms of costs, which one cost us less? Because I was made to understand by, the parliamentarians that they are not a subcommittee of the Madlanga Commission. That was done by Parliament. Obviously, was fine, and in all fairness, good for them. But for people to say that they duplicate, I don't know. I disagree. They had got though the mandates may look similar, but I think well the outcome might be the same. But they had to do it in Parliament also because they are autonomous. Now, just to understand processes, as far as costs were concerned, which one did spend more money? Thank you. Have a lovely afternoon. It's raining, really raining in Sweden. Please stay indoors. Bye, Ashraf.
Thanks for that weather report at the end there. Please stay indoors. Thank you for that. Yeah, look, I mean, in terms of actual cost, nobody can give you an accurate figure. Inevitably, these costs always shoot up, don't they? When they extend the times from 1 month to 3 months to 5 months to 6 months, then it's a lot more expensive. But it's an interesting exercise, maybe even to talk about it tomorrow if we can get the chance, right? Because we've had to obviously compromise some of the other regular shows to take in the commissions, right? But it's an interesting one. Ad hoc committee versus the Madlanga Commission. Just where are the differences between the two in terms of cost, in terms of outcomes? I mean, we know the one is being questioned by parliamentarians. That is the one clear difference that's very obvious. But the actual outcomes, we shall see. Yeah, this is the National Pulse.
Streaming Scheme Sum on the way to class.
Catching the Premier League while waiting for your order.
Jamming to Metro FM before you even get out of bed.
On SABC Plus, sinayo yonke into ifunayo. Your shows, your music, your way, anytime, anywhere. Zero subscription fees.
On your phone, tablet, or smart TV.
Download SABC Plus on iOS or Google Play Store.
The Atlas Lionesses of Morocco and Mzansi's Banyana Banyana return to the battlefield. The rivalry between the North and the South continues. This is the international friendly. Witness the spectacular encounter between Morocco and South Africa this Tuesday, 2 December at 7:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Mr. Govender, congrats on the retirement. You just sold your car to We Buy Cars. Tell us about it.
Yes, it just gathered dust in the garage, so I exchanged it for cold hard cash. Now my wife and I can enjoy a stress-free retirement.
Retiring the car as you retire. Nice. So why We Buy Cars?
It was so quick. They came over to our house to do the evaluation, and we sold it the same day. Tops, man.
Okay, so now you got even more time on your hands, eh?
Exactly.
We Buy Cars. Geared for your next chapter. Geared for you.
X at SFM Radio and at Ashraf Garda.
Okay, here's a comment about petrol.
Ashraf, good afternoon. I think it's high time now that we promote that guy's innovative idea. I think it's
KZN or Mpumalanga, if I'm not mistaken, with regards to generating petrol and diesel for us. See the sharp increase of petrol again now, and just on the verge of us now going to enjoy our Christmas break. So I think let's leave for a while the commissions and let's check, can we at least invest in that idea. If I can recall, they said the guy got license from the department. That's under correction. I'm speaking under correction. But I think it's a good idea now that we went into that. Anonymous, not on Cape.
Okay, got that one. Thank you. In fact, so one thing is about the Trump non-invite that we already know. The other one is an interesting one about King Buyeleka Zwelin Banzi Dalinlebo. Of course, very, very known person right now. He's in Israel. He's been visiting the places in Jerusalem. And, of course, critics are saying, well, that's a PR thing. That's why he's going there. I'm not there to comment on why he's going. Excepting the one thing that's been picked up, I believe, even from Durko, is that he's taken pictures with representatives from there and used the South African flags alongside it together with the Israeli flag. And there's been a story around that to say, does he have that right or not? I mean, I just like to put it out there if you know more.
Ashraf, it is not correct that this task team was a provincial task team, and I think the minister is right to refer to it as a national political task team because it was operating in other provinces. It was not only operate. They said so themselves that they went to the Eastern Cape. They were in Gauteng. So how can you then refer to it as a provincial task team when it operated outside the province of KZN? So it was a national political task team, and Mutun is right.
And you know what? If he's wrong, then there'll be that rebuttal coming up when he comes back on Thursday, isn't it? So, yeah, leave it to that.
Hi, Ashraf. It's Enoch speaking. Ashraf, during the day, from in the morning, Dr. I just forgot her name. The lady who was on Madlanga this morning. She spoke about politicians. Do we have any idea who are those politicians and where are they, and then which party are they representing? I just want to know which party are they from and who are those politicians? Because she said majority of the influence was coming from the politicians. So I'm kind of like wondering who are those politicians?
Well, I'll tell you what, tomorrow's going to be very interesting. She did say often my hands were tied, or my hands are tied. We're talking about Imogen Shazi, right? Because tomorrow would be hugely significant, I think, regarding that issue.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Minister Senzo, I think he's already starting on the wrong foot. He's changing his stories here and there, if I heard him correctly. And he's now starting to, tell us about advices that he got now. And I don't know what those advices have to do with his disbanding the PKTT. So he's already shaky, and I'm hoping he's not going to tell a different story from what he told at the ad hoc committee. But yeah, I'm in support of Madanga. Toby or no to Toby, Madanga wins.
Okay.
Pueblo.
Right. Well, let's see how that plays out till we decide who wins, as you say, right?
Afternoon, Mr. Ashraf. Man, I don't understand what Mr. Gunu mean when he keeps on saying we, because he was not working with the National Commissioner, Mr. Masemola, General Masemola, and he didn't work with his two deputies because they already testified that no, they were not doing anything. So I don't know why when he keeps on saying we, him and who, because he keeps on saying that. I don't know if maybe it's only me who heard so, but I don't know who he was working with because the police, in the police department, he was supposed to work with the police commissioners, the generals, but he keeps on saying we with who.
All right. Well, even that we will find out. Here's another comment on the ad hoc committee.
Hello, Ashraf. Sia here from Roodepoort. On that ad hoc committee versus Madlanga commission, that ad hoc committee is a joke. Those guys are clowns, all of them. They're just representing their own, defending their own political parties. They're not pursuing the truth at all. They can't even ask proper questions. The Madlanga Commission, those are advocates. They ask proper questions. They know how to corner a witness. They know how to get the truth out of a witness. No, man, that ad hoc committee is a bunch of clowns.
And yet others say the ad hoc is the one that they find really enjoyable. I suppose it's not just about enjoyment, because one part is like the theater, the what we see and how it plays out. The other is the actual outcomes, right?
Good afternoon, Ashraf. Ashraf, I am just curious. I'm just curious because I'm listening on this advocate, Dalimbo's son, saying that his father is charging at least 50,000 per day. And I'm sure Ngaitev is more expensive than Dalimpov. I'm just assuming because it's better than Dalimpov in terms of law and dealing with the case. But nonetheless, I want to know, where do these ministers get money to pay 50,000 every day?
No, it can go
I'm
on
just
for
curious, Bob, Cape Town.
it can go on for like 10 days, just 10 days. Forget even longer, just 10 days. 500,000 rands. Oh my goodness. Let's leave it at that. It's an interesting one. Yeah. Well, where do they get the money from? Who supports them? Maybe they have it anyway. Okay, that's the show. One thing I do know is I'm not going to play paddle today. I'm not even going to go and watch outdoor paddle because it's storming, and this seems to be the norm as per the conversation. Pick up. We'll have podcasts of all the major conversations we've had today. Just go to the website safm.co.za. Often they get tweeted out as well, so you can check it out. Hashtag the National Pulse. Right now, just gone 6 o'clock. It's Greg here with the news.
Thank you again, Ashraf. Mngunu denies corruption allegations and concern over the safety of MPs.